The late Jalal Talabani, who faced an inglorious end, known among the Kurds as Jash 66, the greatest traitor and mercenary to the Kurdish people, lived an evil life of betraying his own people for blood money in exchange for power and wealth provided by the enemies of Kurdistan. What remains of his legacy is the thousands of ordinary Kurds' blood on his hands and an propagandistic empire that still promotes his evil practices and undermines the Kurdish cause and its people. The decades of blood spilt by his group has yet to be mentioned to the public, let alone washed off. They pretend to support ordinary Kurds by masquerading themselves as democratic politicians, and the ones who continually undermine the welfare of ordinary Kurds are the ones whom Talabani is in bed with. A traitor will remain a traitor, so should we be surprised that even long after Talabani's death, his son, Qubad Talabani, would soon follow in his footsteps? Like father, like son. Qubad Talabani has done far worse than what his father has done, though less obvious and more secretly. In fact, he discreetly uses bribery, intimidation, and even assassinations on those who dare call him out on his practices. It is corruption at the highest level. The observant ones, the ones who dare expose these criminal acts to the public, are subjected to intimidation, threats, physical assaults, and even torture. It is a well-known fact among the Iraqi Kurds that many innocent Kurds were murdered by the henchmen of this notorious group. Even abroad, these criminals have corrupted many Kurdish organizations in order to promote their agenda while at the same time compromising the integrity of serving the international Kurdish communities. One obvious example is the bought and paid for propaganda outlet called Kurdish House, located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. A center which has been receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars from Jalal Talabani's son, Qubad. My friends and I visited this Kurdish house in Toronto a number of times. On one occasion, we were 4 people, all of us Kurdish, who visited the disgraced center and began talking to a young person working at there. At one point during the conversation, he explained that Talabani's son, Qubad, gave Kurdish House $25,000 as a gift and has been receiving similar funding throughout the years. When we asked him why Talabani's son would give such a large amount of money when instead it could have been spent on the desperate Yazidis, or families of the dead Peshmerga, he immediately became very defensive and upset that we would bring up such a topic. Why would the Kurdish House need hundreds of thousands of dollars, i.e. blood money, from Talabani's son in order to operate? Nothing we said was incorrect or disrespectful. All we suggested was that the money should have been spent on the people who needed it most, which certainly weren't the Kurdish House of Canada compared to those suffering back home. At least Kurdish House could have simply rejected the gift and advised Qubad to donate the money to the desperate Kurds back home instead. But it seems that greed took over. We have heard of similar gift donations by this corrupt criminal, Qubad Talabani, to other Kurdish House branches in the UK in return for them to act as propaganda pimps in order to promote Talabani's agenda. Don't be fooled by these deceitful Kurdish organizations that claim to support the Kurdish community and its people. Kurdish House and others are simply propaganda tools to support only the selfish interests of the corrupt and criminal Talabani family and their group. If it was not for the corrupt individuals like the ones at the Kurdish House, this family could have been gone long time ago. This so-called Kurdish House is no way, shape or form a home for Kurds and as such, is properly labeled among Kurds as corrupt house or prostitute house.